Hi, and welcome to Best in Tesla News, episode 186. Volkswagen said there was EV demand problems, but BEV sales in Germany was up 69%. And dealerships are starting their decline. And Tesla is setting new records in China despite many talks about the demand problem getting old. And we get some more big news from Redwood Materials that yet another Tesla employee will join. And BYD is doubling their net income. And we are seeing Cybertrucks everywhere. And Tesla has turned on a huge new NVIDIA GPU cluster this week. And it seems that Elon will be right once again, as Lidar production is going in the wrong direction, as Bosch will no longer make Lidar sensors. All of this and much more in today's episode. So let's dive right in.
Let's put our living stereo stylus in this groove.
Funny how we have been hearing about both from Ford and GM and Volkswagen being out saying that EV demand is slowing down. But when we look at the numbers from July in Germany, an all-electric car registration was up 69% year over year, which was enough to capture 20% of the market compared to 14% a year ago. That's the highest BEV share so far this year. So increasing quite fast, so no demand problems for EVs here, as they have been talking about. On the other hand, plug-in hybrid cars registrations decreased year over year for the 7th consecutive month, dragging down the overall plug-in segment, as plug-in hybrids are not supported by their generous incentives anymore, which is the main reason behind the substantial sales drops. And this will only accelerate as the hybrids will lose all of their incentive in all of Europe by 2025 with the new Euro 7 standard taking effect. So people don't want to buy this dying Frankenstein breed of a car anymore. But BEVs were up 69%. So BEV is still rising fast despite Volkswagen and others trying to tell us otherwise. And the Model Y is still the best-selling EV in the country. Just as we saw in another big car market in Europe, as in France year-to-date, the Tesla Model Y is still the best-selling EV in France. And France has a plug-in market share of 24% in July. So again, electric vehicles are rising fast in Europe. But this comes as no surprise, as we know we are heading for about 14 million electric vehicles sold in this year. That is an increase of 35%, and as you can see on this chart, there is nothing slow about the rise here. It is without a doubt an S-curve adoption we are seeing here. That is just the facts. You cannot argue against that. And nothing is indicating any huge slowdown in demand, as many legacy automakers wants to make it sound like, just because they might see a slowdown in demand for their EVs, like most Germans are seeing in China, the fastest growing EV market on the planet, and Germans are not really keeping up. And because the plug-in market share in China is already 38%, the Germans are not only seeing a lack of demand for the EVs, but their cars in general are declining. Here you can see this chart from Roland that Tesla has actually overtaken someone like Mercedes, BMW and Audi in China as an automaker. So all the talk about them catching up to Tesla and how Mercedes could kill Tesla all on its own and Audi would catch up with 7-mile boots. Well, here we are, and it is the complete opposite that has happened. Tesla has now caught up with the 3 German giants in China. And Tesla is, of course, bigger than Audi on a global scale. But in Europe in general, we are seeing EV sales surge more than 50% in July from a year earlier. So I can't really find the slowdown in demand Volkswagen is talking about. Must be their own EV demand they are talking about. Definitely not Tesla's demand, as the Model Y was not just the best-selling EV, but the best-selling car of any kind in Europe in the first half of 2023, only up at 204%. Oh, is that it?
Before we dive into more news topics, a quick shout out to today's sponsor, Factor 75. If you're dreaming of chef-created meals delivered right to your doorsteps, that is Factor 75. No frozen food, no fuss, open, heat, eat. Imagine zero prep, zero mess. No more stress over meal planning or endless prepping. Breakfast, lunch and dinner is all up to you. Factor 75 got you covered. And if you're living a keto diet or low calories, vegan or vegetarian life, Factor 75 is still your buddy. With a whopping 27 plus meals options every week and customizable meal plans ranging from 4 to 18 meals, they're the most flexible friend in your fridge. And if you need a break, it's easy to skip a week or modify your preference. Designed by dietitians, Factor 75 offers nutrition-packed meals quicker than your favorite fast food joint. So I just wish that they delivered outside the US, because as someone that works from home and is self-employed and need to make my own meal every day, a 2-minute wholesome meal sounds just perfect. But lucky for all of you in the States. So if you want to check it out and live in the States, use my link down below. And don't forget to use my special code FACTORSE44014 to snatch a 40% off your first order and an extra 20% off your next month. And dive into the delicious world of Factor 75 today. And a big thanks to Factor 75 for sponsoring this video.
And speaking of Tesla and the Germans in China, Tesla continues to beat their sales records time and time again in China, while we still hear about demand problems from analysts. It's getting kind of old. Because with 1 week left of the month, Tesla has set a new record in China. Sales has never been higher after the second month in a quarter. So it looked like we will have the same kind of sales numbers in China after August than what we had after November last year. And yes, I know there was a lockdown last year in April, but you can also kind of see that on the red line here that suddenly went sideways. But you can also see that the red line continued in much bigger waves the rest of the year, also in 2021, but 2023 numbers are much more a straight line, as Tesla seems to have minimized the delivery waves. So we can see Tesla also executing on that as well. So Tesla is making new records, but doing it in a much better balance than ever before as well. So again, it is not Tesla people need to worry about in China. Tesla is doing great, and Tesla surpassed the sales of Mercedes, BMW and Audi in China last week, as we just saw. German car companies were trending down in August and Tesla were trending up. It is the Germans we need to worry about. So people continue to talk about demand problem in China for Tesla, and Tesla continue to execute and beat the old records month after month, and even starting to take over the Germans in China, their biggest market on the planet. We should probably take notice of this, as we are seeing Tesla taking over from the Germans in China. And if Tesla doesn't become bigger than Mercedes this year, they will no doubt become bigger than both Mercedes and BMW next year. And this year was the year that Tesla became bigger than Audi. We are seeing a big disruption happening right now in front of our eyes. But it seems that many legacy automakers and automotive analysts are still closing their eyes, as they still don't see it. Or maybe they do see it, but just don't want to let their investors know that there is problems. But they will learn soon enough. And recycling of batteries is really starting to kick off, because it is already a profitable business, but EVs made from recycled batteries in the US will also qualify for the full $7,500 EV tax credit. As former CTO J.B. Straubel said sometime last year, Redwood Materials recycling of batteries was already a profitable business, and now others are starting to see the goldmine recycling of batteries really is. And speaking of Redwood Materials, Colin Campbell, Tesla's VP of Powertrain Engineering, has decided to leave Tesla after 17 incredible years at Tesla, as he wrote on LinkedIn. I'm excited to share that I will be joining Redwood Materials as a CTO. So now we have 2 of the very first Tesla employee running Redwood Materials. Very nice. But Redwood also had just raised a huge new round of funding of $1 billion, and the company will use it along with a $2 billion loan committed from the US Department of Energy to expand outside the base in Carson City, Nevada. So Redwood is already gearing up because they know just how valuable these materials are on their own. But with the Inflation Reduction Act, which offers consumers up to $7,500 tax credit for purchasing a new EV made in the United States, is incentivizing car companies to make their batteries out of recycled materials. Vehicle battery material recycled count as being sourced from the US and therefore qualify EVs for this portion of the full tax credits, as long as the batteries were recycled in America, regardless of where they were made originally and where the materials come from. And it is a lucrative business. Lithium cobalt, LCO, and nickel cobalt manganese, NCM, black mass, the kind of ore from crushed batteries, is more valuable in terms of containing battery metals than lithium iron phosphate, LFP batteries, black mass. Per ton of an average mixture of NCM cells, there is approximately $8,700 of value from lithium, nickel, and cobalt based on May 2023 prices, with lithium accounting for 14% of the weight but 55% of the value of these 3 battery metals. LCO cells containing lithium and cobalt have $11,130 value, with lithium accounting for 11% of the weight but 42% of the value of those 2 metals. LFP batteries have approximately $3,170 value per ton of cells, making them the cheapest battery to produce and the least value black mass. Yes, it is not something we are going to have to force companies to do because it's the right thing to do. They will do it all on its own, as this is the new gold rush for the materials for the EVs of the future. And remember, as I showed in some of my videos, when we are taking recycling into the calculation of lifetime consumption of a car, ICE cars consume about 300 to 400 times more resources than a BEV, as we can't recycle gasoline. It's not part of and will never be part of a circular economy as BEVs will. Recycling battery materials is also far cheaper than mining them from the ground, and with 70% less emission, as Jerry Rick Everything also showed in his great video where he visited the recycling company Lee Cycle in Arizona. I will leave a link to his video down below if you want to check it out yourself. This is truly the key to a circular, renewable economy. But it is so profitable that it will happen with or without thinking about the environment. And do you remember 3 years ago, Bosch started making Lidar sensors for autonomous vehicles? Well, Bosch is now shutting that production down. Bosch has stopped developing Lidar sensors. The competitor ZF has already ended the commitment, so no more Lidar sensors will be made in Germany. I think this is actually quite a big deal for autonomous vehicles that need Lidar, as I just talked about in my video this week about Tesla's full self-driving version 12, and that one of the problems all the other guys have is that there is not being produced enough Lidar sensors in the world combined for autonomous vehicles to ramp up production, and no huge production ramp is even planned. So even if Waymo or Cruise solve full self-driving tomorrow, they would not be able to scale production of a robotaxi fleet to something like 1 million robotaxis globally for many, many years to come, as in 2021 there was only enough Lidar sensors being produced to make about 3% of that 1 million robotaxi. And within these 2 years we have lost 2 of the producers of Lidar sensors in Germany. So going the wrong way, if we should ever have robotaxis using Lidar system, we need huge amount of investment in production of the Lidar sensors, but the opposite is happening. Kind of what we're seeing with hydrogen stations as well, that is very few. Well, we have also seen hydrogen stations being taken down in both UK and Germany, also going in the wrong direction. But Elon did warn people about this years ago, as he said hydrogen was silly.
I don't want to listen to a debate on hydrogen fuel cells because I just think that they're extremely silly. It's just very difficult to make hydrogen and store it and use it in a car. The best case hydrogen fuel cell doesn't win against the current case batteries.
And the same thing with Lidar. Elon also warned about using them in autonomous vehicles.
Lidar is a fool's errand, and anyone relying on Lidar is doomed. Expensive sensors that are unnecessary. But at SpaceX, SpaceX Dragon uses Lidar to navigate to the space station and dock. Not only that, SpaceX developed its own Lidar from scratch to do that, and I spearheaded that effort personally, because in that scenario, Lidar makes sense, and in cars, it's friggin' stupid. It's expensive and unnecessary, and as Andre was saying, once you solve vision, it's worthless.
But hey, what does Elon know, right? He's only sending people up to the International Space Station using LiDAR sensors and landing the boosters back on the ground, and has made the best-selling car in the world, which happened to be an electric vehicle, and have now made a neural network that can drive a car with no programming needed. Yeah, as we have been saying for years, don't bet against Elon Musk. He knows more than most, and we are seeing LiDAR for autonomous vehicles dying a slow death, which will be devastating for every company working on full self-driving cars using LiDAR. And as Elon said, when we have solved vision, it is unnecessary, and Tesla has just solved vision. A 100% neural network driving a car only on vision with no programming. As Elon said, they are doomed. And let's squeeze in the last short news topics into this new show. Yes, it's time for the Tesla Shorts. And we see Cybertrucks all over the place in the US now, and they are being delivered all over the country. We even got to see the semi-truck delivering some Cybertrucks at Fremont. Very cool sight. Two of Tesla's most badass vehicles. I think Tesla is going to do something special with the delivery event, as this does not seem normal for Tesla to do this before a delivery event. So going to be very exciting to see what Tesla is cooking up for us at the Cybertruck delivery event. And an average of more than 1 gigawatt a day of new solar is being installed around the world, according to the forecast from Bloomberg New Energy Finance, with China contributing at least half of that amount. Very impressive, and nice to see some stats about the huge amount of solar being deployed. And I have been reporting on this couple before that is driving all the way down to South Africa from the Netherlands to show the world it is possible to drive electric. And they posted this week, in most Africa countries, the energy cost for driving 100 kilometers with our electric expedition car is less than $1. So people saying Africa will never adopt EVs because they're too expensive. Well, first of all, not all EVs are, and their price will only come down thanks to Rice Law, but $1 for 100 kilometers of driving. I think it will convince most people in Africa as well that EVs are the future. And BYD continues to execute in China by posting second quarter profits that surged 145%, with a net income more than doubling to $930 million. The continued strong sales volume performance in recent months has enabled BYD to maintain its lead over the Volkswagen Group as China's best-selling car brand this year, having passed the German auto giant in the first quarter. BYD sold 700,000 new energy vehicles during the second quarter, beating the previous high of 683,500 in the final 3 months of 2022. So BYD is still doing great, but still only earns something like $1,300 per car they sell. So still have a long way to go to get to the level of profits that Tesla has. And Tesla turned on a huge NVIDIA GPU cluster this week, tripling Tesla's NVIDIA training compute power. But together with Dojo, Tesla should have something like 7 times their training compute power than before Dojo. Things are about to start moving really fast. I really don't think people really understand what is about to happen, as Elon showed off version 12 of the full self-driving software, showing the world that Tesla has pretty much solved full self-driving. A neural network that was driving a car with no program. It is only a matter of time to feed enough video data to the neural network that is now driving the car to have something that is much better and safer than a human. But I did make a whole video about the Tesla checkmate move here. If you want to dive in deeper, link down below. And Samsung is reportedly becoming Tesla's primary provider for their 5th generation self-driving chip, the Hardware 5. This advanced chip is expected to utilize a cutting-edge 4nm processor, according to news publications Business Korea. And speaking of Tesla's full self-driving chip, it is now confirmed that Tesla's owners with Hardware 4 in their cars will now also get access to Tesla's full self-driving beta software, even though Elon said Hardware 4 would lag behind Hardware 3 with full self-driving software for about 6 months. It did not mean that people with Hardware 4 had to wait 6 months to get full self-driving beta. It is here now, but they will have to wait probably until summer next year to get access to version 12, as it is still in training. And Tesla battery degradation is not accelerated by frequently supercharging, which was previously thought, according to an extensive new study. We compared cars that fast charged at least 90% of the time to cars that fast charged less than 10% of the time. In other words, people who mostly exclusively fast charged their car and people who rarely fast charged. The results showed no statistically significant difference in range degradation. But Tesla still warns about charging your vehicles to more than 90% if you have a lithium-ion battery and getting down below 10%. And Elon wrote on X, "We'll make an app allowing you to see the latest from X on your car screen." Nice. VinFast did become the world's 3rd most valuable automaker this week after the stock rallied 20% despite the company having only sold a little more than 100 cars in America. It now has a market cap of $191 billion, more than Ford, GM and Volkswagen combined. I know Tesla has a higher valuation, but that is because the potential of full self-driving, robotics, AI, energy and much more. Why VinFast is this high is anyone's guess. This seems crazy. And apparently oil demand in China will peak here in 2023. Sinopec, Chinese largest fuel distributor, makes this huge statement 2 years earlier than expected. Will the oil demand peak this year in China? The reason is much faster adoption of plug-in vehicles than expected. As I reported in last week's news show, the plug-in market in China in July was 38%, so we could see above 40% by the end of this year. Remember, it was only 6% in 2020, just 3 years ago. So when people are saying we are only at 5% BEV market share, yeah, just give it a couple of years. And plug-in in China now makes over 5% of the existing fleet. So that is some very impressive numbers. And Tesla is still growing insanely fast in Australia. As Troy Tesla wrote on X, based on current trends, Tesla sales in Australia are expected to be almost 3 times higher this year compared to last year. Australia is one of Tesla's fastest growing market. Yes, we should see an absolutely blowout of their old records in Australia this year, but also here in Q3, as Tesla has over 10 ships that has arrived in Australia in the first 2 months of the quarter. So things are looking good down under. And Joe Tagmeyer shared some pictures and videos from Tesla's lithium refinery, where we can see the progress at the site. But if you want to learn a lot more about that, check out Joe's video about it, or Brian from My Tesla Weekend also made an interview with Joe, so a lot of great stuff to dive into if you are interested. Link is of course down below. And the refreshed Model 3 has been spotted once again in Europe, actually twice, both in Germany and in France. And according to Tesla Chan, the trail test production is over. So if that is accurate, we should have real production starting any day now. So we are seeing refreshed Model 3s and Cybertrucks all over the world. Come on, Tesla, let's get those delivery events up and running. And the International Renewable Energy Agency has hailed a turning point in the transition to green energy, with the new data that shows wind and solar caught $520 billion, so $500 billion from the electricity sector fuel bill in 2022 alone. Yes, many people think that the shift to renewables will cost a lot of money, but they forget the long term it will save us so much more. And as we can see here, even short term, we are talking about trillions of dollars saved. And Business Insider finally get it. Tesla direct sales model is the right way to go. As they write, dealerships have to change if automakers want to rival Tesla. Exactly, just as I made a video about this week. As we also saw in July, the repair order volume index dropped to 83.7, down 7.8% compared to June's figures, and is down 3% compared to July last year, reflecting the lowest service volume for July in the past 5 years, according to X-Time Matrix. So dealerships' business model is also starting to decline, and that is also why Ford wants to make their Model E division go to online sales and a non-negotiated pricing in the beginning of next year. So if you want to learn more, I will leave a link to my video about it all down below. And Ford showed off this little teaser about an upcoming little camper van, but very disappointing. It did not come as an electric version, only plug-in hybrid and diesel. And on the 29th of August, Tesla Europe could celebrate 10 years of charging in Europe. And to do that, Tesla made it free for everyone, including non-Teslas, to charge for free at Tesla superchargers for the entire day. Very nice. When have you ever seen Shell celebrate anything by letting everyone fill up their ice cars for free? But congratulations to Tesla for the amazing work you have done through the last 10 years to make EV road tripping in Europe an absolutely joy with no range anxiety. And Tesla Club Silicon Valley just shared that the Tesla Takeover event from California is coming to Europe. In May 2024, Tesla Takeover Europe in Austria will be launching, hosted by Tesla Owners Club Austria. So that is awesome. Finally, some Tesla event in my neck of the woods. Can't wait for that one. But it will also be coming to Asia as well, to Singapore already here in November. So if you live near Singapore, you should definitely go check that one out. And Ford will discontinue the Escape, Edge and Transit Connect model in the US to make more capital available for its electric vehicle push, as Ford has higher than expected losses in 2023. The company is set to lose $4.5 billion. That is about $500 million more than it previously expected. But nice to see Ford cutting ICE sales to make room and get capital for EVs. And before we end off with a bit of fun, I just want to make a quick shout out to my new Patreons. My new Patreon producers, Monty87518 and Richard Turnbull. Thank you so much for all your support. I am doing this all by myself, but you guys are all the producers of this new show. Thank you. And a big and special thanks to Supporter of the Week, and this week's winner is Steve Simpsons. He has been a Be Nice and You Are member for more than 17 months. Thank you so much, Steve, for all your support. Please contact me on this email down below so I can get your address and send you your Supporter of the Week winner t-shirt. And let's end off with a bit of fun. While Tesla is still just growing like crazy, earning billions of dollars every quarter selling their EVs, well, here is a look inside Ford's EV factory.
All I hear, go get the money, so I go get it. All I hear, go get the money, so I go get it. So I'ma let 'em. Yeah, I'ma let 'em, yeah, I'ma let 'em.
That is all we have time for in this news show. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit that like button. It really does help this video out a lot so others can find it here on YouTube. And if you did like it, maybe you want to consider hitting that subscribe button and notification bell so you don't miss out on future videos just like this one. And don't forget, if you want to become an executive producer and get news articles Monday to Friday, early access and exclusive videos, and access to all my research and charts and spreadsheets, head over to bestintesla.com and join with the members button. If you are already a subscriber, thank you so much for your support, and if you want to support the channel even more, remember you can, for as little as $1, become a patron of this channel and get your shout out on this show. You can also become a member of the YouTube channel to get a shout out and some extra perks. Hit the members button to find out more. And don't forget to follow me on Twitter. I tweet all the news as it comes out and more. And check out the merch store to get some merchandise and support the show. Now it's also possible to support the show without buying anything, becoming a member or a patron. There is a link to a donation options in the show notes. And also as simple as hitting the super like button. But going forward, I will be making more videos for patrons and members only. And I will give my YouTube members and patrons early access to my videos whenever possible and make my videos ads free for members and patrons only. So don't miss out. And thank you for watching. And until next time, take care out there and be nice.